Let's start with college and move to the NFL.
Alrighty.
So we've got a year. The NFL gives you, Charlie, on average, about a quarterback a year, 1.5 college to pro that click. Next year, we could have 2 between UCLA's Josh Rosen and USC's Sam Darden. Now, it's early, but a lot of the scouts and a lot of the murmurs are, okay, these are franchise guys, okay? We're going to have 2 this year minimum. So let's say you're back in the NFL. You know, a guy like me watches the game, but somebody that has a keen offensive eye who was coached in college and in pro, you're looking at those 2. What are the first couple of things you really care about?
Well, the first thing I want to do is talk to him myself, because once you've talked to him for about a half hour, you get a feel, because the quarterback's play is not nearly as relevant as whether he has that special something to him. You know, is he the Pied Piper? Is he the guy that players want to play around? Do they want to follow him? Do they want to listen to him? And just because they're good athletes, just because they're a good quarterback or could throw the hell out of the ball, doesn't mean it's the guy you want. You want a guy who's going to be the leader of your program, because with all the dollars that are spent at the quarterback position, okay, you're not going to cut him. Once you take him, you're not going to cut him. You want this guy to be the guy that's taking you to the promised land. So if that's the case, you want somebody that's going to be the face of the franchise, somebody that you can count on, and that the players are going to gravitate to. So really talking to him is even more important than watching him play.
Tom Brady early. Do you remember the interviews? Do you remember the it factor you spotted and Bill did?
The it factor to me showed up his first year that he was here, because we kept him as a 4th quarterback that year. You know, that's at a time when no one kept more than 3. A lot of teams only keep 2 now.
Right.
Okay, we kept 4 quarterbacks on the roster because Bill and Scott and everyone else saw, you know, there's something different about this guy. And one of the things that was different is after practice every day, because he wouldn't get any reps. He wouldn't even get to show team reps. So after practice every day, he would take all the guys who really didn't do anything like him and go through the practice. And you sit there and say, because normally when the whistle blows, those guys are headed to the locker room. You know, they can't get off the field fast enough, but not him. And you watched him in the locker room, and he'd gravitate around from position to position. It wasn't just around receivers. He might be talking to the DBs one day. He might be talking to the linebackers one day. He might be talking to the offensive line one day. You know, you saw a guy that, you know, the players all kind of had a good feel for. For now, you've, you know, grown into that guy where there's a minute to go in a game. He walks in the huddle. They're down by 6. Everyone knows they're going to score.
Charlie Weis joining us. I've said in my lifetime, Tim Duncan and Tom Brady could be the most coachable superstars. And Charlie, even when you were recruiting high school players, kid gets 5 stars, you know, talk to the hand. Tom appears to be coachable, which is an underrated skill. You know, guys make their money, they don't want to hear it. Take me back to some moments where now Tom has now started winning games when you had to chew him out.
Well, I can think of 2 in particular, one in practice and one in a game. So I'll give you 2.
Okay.
There's a Friday practice. We're getting, you know, Friday practices, you know, you're just tuning things up, getting ready to go. And we're throwing at the near end of old Foxborough Stadium. And we're in an empty set, and he throws a pass to the left, and the coverage on the card dictated him for the throw the ball to the right. You know, because we throw to, you know, based off of where the coverage is, that's where you throw the ball. So I looked at him and I said, you know, hey, why'd you throw it over there? You know, because I wanted to know why he went back to the left side instead of staying to the right side. And he goes, because he was open. I said, it doesn't make any difference if he's open or not. I go, where are you supposed to go with that ball based off of that coverage? And he goes, yeah, but he was open. So I took my whistle and I took my script, took the whistle off, threw the script at him and said, go call your own plays. Now, of course, there were a few adjectives in there as well. But basically, you know, he picked up the script and the whistle. He goes, no, you call the plays. But the point was made that, you don't run the show here. We run the show. We call the plays. You go ahead and execute the plays. because when he was younger, you don't give him as much latitude. The more experienced they are, the more they've proven themselves, the more latitude you give them. The second time I could remember, we were playing the Chicago Bears in Champaign when the Bears stadium was being refurbished.
Okay.
And the Bears weren't very good that year, and we were pretty good. And we went there in the first half. We were getting the ever-living crap kicked out of us. I mean, they were calling reverse passes and everything else. Everything they were doing was working, and everything we were doing was not working.
Right.
And it's right before halftime. We get the ball back, and we're trying to get at least one drive to get a few points to get some kind of momentum going into the locker room. And I said, okay. I call play, and I said, now, Tommy, if they play to Tampa, and if you don't have the seam curl, okay, just dump the ball off to the back. Don't risk a dangerous throw versus to Tampa. Well, they played to Tampa, and he threw an interception right into that guy. This was right after I had just finished telling him at a timeout. I just told him that. Well, he comes off the field. He knows he's trying to avoid me. He's trying to, and Troy Brown, who was the receiver he threw the ball to, who made the tackle on the play eventually, he gets in between us because I'm screaming at him as much as you could scream at anybody about, because coming right after a timeout. Now, fortunately for us, we came back in a game, and at the end of the game, he throws a wild touchdown pass, that he helped create that play for the game winner. So everything was hugs and kisses in the locker room. But for that 60 seconds.
Now, he doesn't pout. He's okay with it.
Oh, no, he didn't pout. The pouting was for about 30 seconds, and then life moves on. So I'm sure if Bill or Josh, choose him out for anything, it doesn't last long. It lasts for that little time frame, then he moves on.